Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Earth Day to everybody here and around the world. Well, you know, today here at this beautiful spot, it just sort of screams springtime in the mountains, and I think we all are feeling great that we are here today. Welcome to what will be Pisgah View State Park, and I am confident it will be a very popular one. It is beautiful. It has 11 miles of hiking trails already. And amazing views of Mount Pisgah, as you can see behind me. I am Reid Wilson. I'm the Secretary of the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. We are the department that takes care of our state's treasures, including our rich history, our diverse arts and culture, our spectacular natural areas. It is a great place to work. It is great to see so many people I know from the conservation community, environmental protection community here today. Appreciate all you do to make events like this a reality in terms of being able to create a new state park. And some of you here have been very generous donors and supporters of this project in particular, but also projects, land conservation projects around the state. I do want to recognize our two elected, well, I'll first start with two of our elected officials here. I'll get to the third in a minute, but State Senator Julie Mayfield and State Representative Brian Turner, both conservation champions and environmental leaders. I would also like to recognize my much more famous cabinet colleague, Dr. Mandy Cohen from Department of Health and Human Services. There she is. You know, this is a great place, a wonderful way to spend Earth Day. I appreciate everyone coming out here. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce to you a real champion for our land, champion for our air, champion for our water, someone who understands how important it is that everybody in North Carolina has a place they can go to get healthy outdoor recreation for their body, their mind, and their soul. So it's a great privilege for me to be able to introduce to all of you Governor Gov Cooper.
What a day in Western North Carolina with friends that I have known a long time. I'm so grateful. And how exciting is it to have Reid Wilson serving as our Secretary of Natural and Cultural Resources. People have known Reid a long time and his work for parks and the outdoors and our natural resources. It's hard to beat what North Carolina has, and I'm grateful for his service. And Dr. Mandy Cohen, thank you so much for your continued strong leadership across this state. We're going to be heading to a vaccine clinic in just a little bit, and if you haven't gotten your shot, get it now. Go to My Spot, My Shot. And sign up and make sure that your family and friends do so as well. Senator Mayfield, Julie Mayfield, and Representative Brian Turner, glad to have you here. Former Representative Chuck McGrady is here, who now serves on the State Board of Transportation and making sure that we have our transportation and respect for our environment working together. We have head of the governor's Western office, Drew Christie, who's here. I did not recognize him with his hair. You do have it. Now, that's pretty impressive, Drew. Thank you. Also want to recognize Dwayne Patterson, who's the head of our parks and did a good stint over at our NC Pro as we're recovering from this pandemic, and thank you. We're glad to have you back over at Parks and the work you're doing. Also glad to see Catherine Skinner and Bill Holman, who've had such a great history of protecting our air, land, and water. Our Land and Trust Fund, that used to be the Clean Water Management Trust Fund, has done so much over the years. I thought about our coastal friend, Mark Bastnight, as I came today. I served in the Senate with him when we started it, and it's great to have Walter Clark here, who is the Executive Director of the Land and Water Trust Fund, and a member, but now the Chair of the Land and Water Trust Fund, my friend John Wilson. Glad to have you here today. and talk about great families in North Carolina who care about the environment. Having all of the Cogburns, not all of them, but a lot of the Cogburns here, thank you guys for this. Steve Cogburn, you're a great clerk of court here in Buncombe, and I were in law school together, so we go back a long way. And Judge Cogburn, and of course Dr. Cogburn and the family, I really appreciate it. Judge, Honorable, and Doctor, I'm grateful for all of you. And also grateful for the Standback family. Shelley is here with us today, but Brad and Fred and all of the family that's done so much for our state. You know, sometimes when you think about this pandemic, you think about how important our parks are and how much out of doors can mean, not only to your physical health, but to your mental health as well. And when we think about the abundant natural resources that God has given us in North Carolina, preserving as much of it as possible is a mission. And I'm grateful as governor that this legislation was introduced for Pisgah State Park and how wonderful it's going to be. And yes, development is fine in certain areas and we need to grow our economy, but preserving areas that we do not develop also helps our economy. The outdoor recreation economy in North Carolina is booming, particularly here out west. So the more opportunities that we give to people to hike, to fish, to camp, to ride, and to just be closer to nature is just critically important. In 2020, we had a record 20 million people who visited our state parks across North Carolina. People wanted to be able to get away and to leave their troubles behind for a while. I'm pleased that the department has started the Parks and Trails for Health initiative, or PATH. We know that we need to get out and walk and exercise and be healthier. And it's also time to disconnect a little bit and to maybe spend some time with family and friends and to be thankful for all that we have. It can just change your mindset when you're able to visit a state park. So as we celebrate this 51st Earth Day, let's celebrate yet another beautiful state park that we will be able to enjoy in North Carolina. And I promised the Cogburns when I could come back, maybe after this job is over, maybe after the cameras go away, and come back and we can really get out there and have a good time. I'm grateful for all of you for being here. I know that I've left some people out because I know almost everybody here, but please know that I value and appreciate all of your good work and your help. And it's just an honor for me to be here with so many people who care so much about North Carolina and our outdoor recreation. So what we'll do is we'll take a few questions from the media if they'd like to ask some.
You already touched on this, Governor, but Western North Carolina relies on ecotourism. It kind of goes hand in hand with Earth Day.
It really does. We know that so many people come to our state because of our outdoor recreation, our parks, the wonderful whitewater rivers that we have here. It is pretty astounding. And in talking with a lot of our businesses, one thing I'm proud of our state, you know, we've put health and safety first in the middle of this pandemic. And it's one of the reasons that our state has ranked among states with some of the fewest deaths per capita. And that's a good thing, a positive thing to save lives. But we've also taken the right balance. We're also a state that the Bureau of Labor Statistics say has been among the states with fewer job losses per capita. And I remember talking to businesses out here in Western North Carolina during the height of the pandemic. The outdoor recreation was doing really well and was continuing to grow jobs and hire people. So we know that this is an important part of our economy, and having that balance when it comes to developing industry and jobs, which we need to do, but also making sure that we preserve our natural resources that can also help our economy, plus it's just the right thing to do.
Governor, could you talk about your proposed budget for state parks, especially how much
Yeah, I should have mentioned that because I had lots of people, thank you for your budget. Thank you for your budget. You know, it's an unprecedented time to have the resources that we have right now. When you look at the American Rescue Plan, North Carolina's going to get $5.4 to $5.6 billion. North Carolina also has already on the bottom line about $5.4 billion aside from the rainy day fund. Tax revenues have not been hurt. There are a lot of people who are living on the margins, and people who were having a hard time before the pandemic are having an even harder time. But the people who are doing well are doing really well, and therefore our tax revenue is coming in well. We've never seen a time with interest rates this low. The state has debt capacity, significant debt capacity, because a lot of it is rolling off right now. So this is the time where we need to be putting funds in the Land and Water Trust Fund. This is the time where we need to make sure we expand our parks and provide for more employees to help us, our rangers who do an amazing job. So we put significant resources into our parks, our zoos, our museums, that help us understand our history, that help us celebrate our natural sciences, and I'm grateful that we put forth such a strong budget, and I hope that we can get good cooperation from the legislature to get a lot of it done. Yeah.
Okay, how of that, I know you're not getting into details, but how much do we anticipate to come to this area?
Well, I don't know at this point. I do know we can send you all the budget and make sure we have all of the details here. But we know Western North Carolina is a place where we want to invest significantly, and we know that the parks out here are going to be critical. It's great that Buncombe County finally has a state park. We already have a lot of places, but this bill passed in 2019 makes sure that Buncombe County has a state park, and that's great. So we'll see you guys over at the vaccine clinic, and thanks again for coming today and celebrating this great day. We really appreciate it.